Hi, I'm Reb Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 40 years. This year, I'm going through the lessons and I'm asking Jesus to clarify for me. And then I write what comes into my mind. And that's what I'm sharing with you today. So let's get started. I'm on lesson 39. My holiness is my salvation. Paragraph 1. If guilt is hell, what is its opposite? Like the text for which this workbook was written, the ideas used for the exercises are very simple, very clear, and totally unambiguous. We are not concerned with intellectual feats nor logical toys. We are dealing only in the very obvious, which has been overlooked in the clouds of complexity in which you think you think. If you're like most people, when you first picked up this book, it hardly seemed simple and clear. I know that at times I felt like I was reading some kind of code and I didn't have the key to decipher it. I kept at it though, and now I do see how simple it is. A Course in Miracles keeps telling us the same thing over and over in different ways until it sinks in. We are very holy sons of God. We are dreaming of being something else, and it's time to wake up. Everything opposite of that is just part of the dream. Paragraph 2. If guilt is hell, what is its opposite? This is not difficult, surely. The hesitation you may feel in answering is not due to the ambiguity of the question. But do you believe that guilt is hell? If you did, you would see at once how direct and simple the text is, and you would not need a workbook at all. No one needs practice to gain what is already his. I have to laugh at this because at the beginning of the practice, Jesus knew that I would try to figure out the answer. When I first started doing this, it felt like a trick question to me. This just shows how complex is the ego thought system. I was so used to this complexity that the simple, straightforward answer didn't occur to me. How could the key to awakening be so simple and so readily available to me? Jesus asked a question that explains our confusion. He asked if we believe that guilt is hell. I have absolutely proven to myself that guilt is hell. And I let go of the belief in guilt and I shifted into a happy dream. In those moments when I pick up the idea of guilt again, I'm back in hell, and the difference is very clear. I let go of the guilt as quickly as I can. Paragraph 3. We have already said that your holiness is the salvation of the world. What about your own salvation? You cannot give what you do not have. A savior must be saved. How else can he teach salvation? Today's exercises will apply to you and recognizing that your salvation is crucial to the salvation of the world. As you apply the exercises to your world, the whole world stands to benefit. My salvation is crucial to the salvation of the world, so is yours, because we go home together or not at all. In order for me to help anyone else reach salvation, I must accept salvation for myself. That is to say, I cannot give what I do not have. So doing these lessons benefits myself and benefits all. Paragraph 4. Your holiness is the answer to every question that was ever asked, is being asked, or will be asked in the future. Your holiness means the end of guilt and therefore the end of hell. Your holiness is the salvation of the world and your own. How could you to whom your holiness belongs be excluded from it? God does not know unholiness. Can it be he does not know his son? When we accept our holiness, all that is becomes known again. The only thing keeping that knowledge obscured is the belief in guilt. This tells me that the desire for guilt is very strong. Equally strong is a fear of innocence. Otherwise, we would have all already happily accepted the good news that guilt is not real. Until we decide to accept our salvation, we will continue the disheartening behavior of trading guilt. We will see ourselves as guilty and then project it onto another. We will forgive the other, then withdraw in terror that this leaves us guilty. What could be the answer to this depressing and unending cycle? Jesus tells us here in this lesson that the answer is our holiness. We're not told that we have to do anything to become holy. To clarify, we already are holy. We need only choose to believe in our holiness. Paragraph 5. A full 5 minutes are urged for the longer practice periods for today, and longer and more frequent practice sessions are encouraged. If you want to exceed the minimum requirements, more rather than longer sessions are recommended, although both are suggested. Paragraph 6. Begin the practice periods as usual by repeating today's idea to yourself. Then, with eyes closed, search out your unloving thoughts in whatever form they appear: uneasiness, depression, anger, fear, worry, attack, insecurity, and so on. Whatever form they take, they are unloving and therefore fearful. And so it is from them that you need to be saved. Do you notice that Jesus says it is our thoughts that we need to be saved from? In the past, I used to think that I needed to be saved from my anxiety or from my depression. Now I see that I needed to be saved from my belief in these states of mind, my belief in their value. He also named many thoughts and then labeled them as one. They were all fear. It is our fear from which we must be saved, and fear is just a belief. Paragraph 7. Specific situations, events, or personalities you associate with unloving thoughts of any kind are suitable subjects for today's exercises. It is imperative for your salvation that you see them differently, and it is your blessing on them that will save you and give you vision. Paragraph 8. Slowly, without conscious selection and without undue emphasis on any one in particular, search your mind for every thought that stands between you and your salvation. Apply the idea for today to each of them in this way. My unloving thoughts about blank are keeping me in hell. My holiness is my salvation. Whether it's a situation or an event or a personality that triggers an unloving thought, it will be suitable for this practice. Notice that Jesus tells us that it is imperative for our salvation that we see them differently. That is a very strong statement. So let's notice these ideas and bless them with our holiness. In the next paragraph, by telling us that these unloving thoughts stand between us and our salvation. This is just in case we haven't figured out yet the importance of this exercise. Paragraph 9, you may find these practice periods easier if you intersperse them with several short periods during which you merely repeat today's idea to yourself slowly a few times. You may also find it helpful to include a few short intervals in which you just relax and do not seem to be thinking of anything. Sustained concentration is very difficult at first. It will become much easier as your mind becomes more disciplined and less distractible. Paragraph 10. Meanwhile, you should feel free to introduce variety into the exercise periods in whatever form appeals to you. Do not, however, change the idea itself as you vary the method of applying it. However you elect to use it, the idea should be stated so that its meaning is the fact that your holiness is your salvation. End each practice period by repeating the idea in its original form once more and adding, if guilt is hell, what is its opposite? In the shorter applications, which should be made some 3 or 4 times an hour and more if possible, you may ask yourself this question, repeat today's idea, and preferably both. If temptation arises, a particularly helpful form of the idea is, my holiness is my salvation from this. We are here to save ourselves and thus save the world. These practices are the way we begin to live our purpose. I am very grateful to our brother for his help. I intend to always take full advantage of each lesson. And I thank you for watching my video and sharing this lesson with me. If you found it helpful, then please like it. And if you haven't done so, perhaps you would subscribe. And I will be back here again tomorrow with another